How good Colorado was last year was one of the biggest surprises in college football. Remind you, around this time last year, most people didn't even think that they would be better than a 6-win team at best. And they went 9-4, which is only the second winning season that Colorado football has had in 2 decades. They had 7 games that they won by 2 possessions or more. Travis Hunter won the Heisman. Shador had a really great season. And with the direction that this Colorado program is trending entering year 3 under Deion Sanders, we could expect for Colorado to take an even bigger step this year than what we saw them take in 2024. This was a 7-on-7 team in Deion Sanders' first 2 years. They didn't have a good offensive line. They couldn't run the football. They could only just throw it all over the yard. Well, this year, though, you're going to be a more well-rounded team. Your ground game is going to improve with the addition of Kaidon Salter out of the transfer portal. He's a way better athlete than what Shador was. And if you can't get good production out of your running backs, he's going to be able to pick up that slack. You can use design quarterback runs, read options, which eventually should help open up that ground game. Your offensive line, eventually you have to think at some point, Deion is going to get it right. He keeps bringing in a bunch of offensive linemen via the portal. He has like a dozen of them that he brought in this year. You should at least have an average O-line this year. And we know that Colorado is always good when it comes to skill position. They have good corners. They got great receivers. Look out for Amarion Miller. He could easily emerge as one of the elite receivers in college football. I don't forget the performance he had 2 years ago against USC when Colorado came back and nearly won that game. He got injured really early during the 2024 season. I'm really excited to see how good he's going to be this year. They got a true freshman out of the state of Texas that had like 30 touchdowns, and he was only like 5'9", 5'10", 155 pounds. But the dude is like the second coming of Tate Dell with Tyreek Hill mixed into him. You just can't catch him. Colorado is loaded this year. And Deion Sanders has also assembled a really good coaching staff. Their hiring of defensive coordinator Robert Livingston doesn't get talked about enough. Colorado's defense went from one of the worst in college football, they couldn't stop a fly in year 1, to a top 50 unit with Robert Livingston taking over in just 1 season. Imagine how good this defense is going to be in year 2 under him. And if you want another example of how good of a coach Robert Livingston was, he was the Cincinnati Bengals secondary coach before he became Colorado's DC. Look at how bad Cincinnati's defense dropped off last season without him. Warren Sapp, when they hired him as their defensive line coach, it was viewed to be Deion just hiring his buddies. He wasn't really serious. Warren Sapp had those big boys up front moving, and they were causing a lot of havoc. They were really good getting after the quarterback. And then you add Marshall Faulk, another Hall of Famer, to this staff to coach up your running backs. This is quietly one of the better coaching staffs in college football. They're not top 10, they're not top 15, but there definitely is a lot of good coaches in that coaching room that Deion Sanders has. And for the expectations that I have for Colorado this year, I expect them to compete for the Big 12 title. Their offensive line should be improved. Their D-line still returns a lot of production from last year. And if you can get some really good interior defensive tackle play, this could be a really good season, year 3 from Coach Prime and the Buffs. Their ceiling is 10-2. If they can beat Georgia Tech week 1, that's a good way to start off the year. You got to play BYU, Iowa State, and Arizona State, who you all tied for first place in the Big 12 last year with. You're capable of beating any team on your schedule this year as long as you can find a way to improve that offensive line, which Deion Sanders should have had that figured out. It's his 3rd season now. Eventually, you have to think that he's going to get that right. And if he has gotten that right, that's going to open up so much for this offense that we didn't see in his first 2 seasons. they barely ran the football. They had a few running backs that didn't even register over 100 carries. They were running the ball like 10, 12 times a game at most. This year, this is a more well-rounded team than what Deion Sanders has had in his first 2 years in Boulder. Kaidon Salters, he may not be Shador when it comes to throwing the football, but he's a better overall athlete. He's going to be able to extend plays. He's going to be able to generate big plays off play calls that may not look that good. Pat Shermer's my only question mark with this team, really. But if you have a guy like Kaidon Salters that has the kind of ability to run around and extend plays like he has, he can turn a bad play into a great play. And I think he quietly is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in college football this year. He was really good during his time at Liberty. And when Colorado first got him, I was a little bit shocked. I thought that he would have went to a way bigger school, at a way bigger program. But the way that Deion Sanders is building this team isn't ideal. Normally, you think the only way to build up a team is recruiting hard and bringing in a few transfers here and there. No, what Deion Sanders is doing is not just trying to find guys that are ready to play immediately out of the transfer portal, but he also is finding guys that, even if they aren't ready to play for him right away, they can sit for a year, develop, get bigger, faster, stronger, and come their second season at Colorado, they're good enough to start. So he's building this team through the portal, somewhat like how you would via recruiting. And like he said, why would I pay for somebody out of high school who's unproven when I can go get proven guys out of the portal? The transfer portal additions that Colorado has gotten this year, the difference between what they've gotten in years past was you were banking on a lot of guys with upside. This year, you're bringing in guys that have a good amount of experience, guys that have already proven themselves. And then you bring in a few guys that have really high upside, like the former Alabama defensive tackle that they got, who was a 4-star, 5-star coming out of high school. Alabama fans were hurt to lose him. He should be a really big-time addition to this Colorado defense. I really believe that Colorado has a great shot at winning the Big 12 this year. And I picked them to win the Big 12 last year. I had them going 10-2, and they were pretty close to doing that until they ended up having that hiccup late against Kansas. But this year, though, despite their schedule being a little bit more tougher, they're good enough to beat anybody that they play. They're not playing Oregon. They're not playing Alabama. Everybody that they have to match up against this year is beatable. And Deion Sanders has more than shown that he's a quality head coach. This isn't an experiment anymore. We know that Deion Sanders isn't going to lose you anything more than 5 games max. The ceiling for Colorado is 10-2. The floor, 7-5, 8-4 for me. I expect a big year out of the Buffs entering their 3rd season under Coach Prime.